Hello! Today we're going to review the fundamental rules for safe and legal boating in Ohio. The ODNR Division of Watercraft takes water safety seriously, so let's get prepared for you to pass that exam on the first try. Here are the key questions for the Ohio Boating Safety Exam. What agency administers boating safety and licensing in Ohio? The Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR Division of Watercraft. ODNR is your authority for all boating education, registration, and enforcement on Ohio waters. Let's continue. Who is required to complete a boating safety education course in Ohio? Anyone born on or after January 1, 1982, who operates a motorized vessel. If you were born after that date and you're at the helm of a motorized boat, the certificate is required by law. Next question. What is the minimum age to operate a motorboat alone in Ohio? 12 years old. Below that age, an adult must be physically present on board. Watching from the shore does not count. Let's move on. Can a child under 12 operate a motorboat in Ohio under any circumstances? Yes, if directly supervised on board by a person at least 18 years old. On board means on the vessel, not on the dock. Supervision must be immediate and direct. Continuing. What document must a boater born after January 1, 1982, carry on Ohio waters? A valid Ohio Boating Education Certificate or an approved equivalent. Carry it every time you operate. An ODNR officer can ask to see it at any point on the water. Next point. Is the Ohio Boating Education Certificate valid for life? Yes, it does not expire once earned. Complete it once and you're covered for life. There is no reason to delay getting it done. Let's keep going. What vessels must be registered in Ohio? All motorized vessels and sailboats over 14 feet used on Ohio waters. If it has a motor or a sail and exceeds 14 feet, it must be registered before it hits the water. Next question. How long is an Ohio vessel registration valid? 3 years. Mark your renewal date so you're never caught operating with an expired registration. Let's continue. Where must registration numbers be displayed on an Ohio vessel? On both sides of the forward half of the hull, in block characters at least 3 inches high. Both sides, forward half, block characters, 3 inches minimum. All 4 details matter. Next point. Where must the Ohio registration decal be placed? Within 6 inches of the registration number on both sides of the bow. Placement is specific, not just anywhere on the hull. Within 6 inches of the number, both sides. Let's move on. What is the legal BAC limit for boat operators in Ohio? 0.08%. The water is not a loophole. Impairment on a boat is just as deadly as impairment on a road. Continuing. What is the penalty for a first offense OWI in Ohio? Fines up to $1,075, possible jail time, and suspension of boating privileges. A first offense OWI can cost you your wallet, your freedom, and your time on the water. Never worth the risk. Next question. What is the no wake speed in Ohio? A speed slow enough to produce minimal wake, generally under 5 miles per hour. If your boat is making waves that rock other vessels or erode the shoreline, you are going too fast. Let's keep going. How close to a dock must a vessel operate at no wake speed in Ohio? Within 100 feet. Wakes near docks damage boats and create dangerous conditions for people boarding or departing. Next point. How close to a swimmer must a vessel maintain no wake speed? Within 100 feet of a swimmer. Swimmers are nearly invisible from a moving boat. Slow down well before you reach that zone. Let's continue. What life jacket requirement applies to children under 10 on a moving vessel in Ohio? A properly fitted USCG approved Type 1, 2, or 3 life jacket must be worn at all times. Worn means fastened on their body, not sitting in a storage compartment under the seat. Next question. How many wearable life jackets must an Ohio vessel carry? At least 1 USCG-approved wearable life jacket for each person on board. 1 per person is the minimum. Make sure every jacket fits the person who would wear it. Let's move on. What throwable device is required on vessels 16 feet or longer in Ohio? A USCG-approved Type 4 throwable device, such as a ring buoy or seat cushion. Keep it accessible at all times, not buried under gear. In a man-overboard situation, seconds count. Continuing. What is a Type 1 life jacket best suited for? Offshore and rough open water where rescue may be delayed. Type 1 provides the most buoyancy and is designed to turn an unconscious wearer face up. It is built for the worst conditions. Next point. What is a Type 3 life jacket designed for? Calm inland waters where quick rescue is available, offering comfort and freedom of movement. Type 3 is popular and comfortable, but know its limits. It may not turn an unconscious wearer face up. Let's keep going. What fire extinguisher is required on motorized Ohio vessels under 26 feet with an enclosed engine space? At least one B1 USCG approved fire extinguisher. Mount it where it's accessible in an emergency and check it at the start of every season. Next question. What sound-producing device is required on vessels 16 feet or longer in Ohio? A whistle, horn, or other device audible for at least half a mile. Sound signals are how vessels communicate in low visibility. Make sure your device works before you leave the dock. Let's continue. What navigation lights must a motorized vessel under 26 feet display between sunset and sunrise? A red port light, a green starboard light, and a white stern light. Red left, green right, white behind. Learn that pattern and you'll always know which direction another vessel is moving. Next point. What does a red navigation light on a vessel indicate? The port, left, side. If you see red on an approaching vessel, it is crossing from your right. Adjust accordingly. Let's move on. What does a green navigation light indicate? The starboard, right, side. If you see green on an approaching vessel, it is crossing from your left. Know what that means for right-of-way. Continuing. What is the diving flag and what must nearby operators do? A red flag with a white diagonal stripe, meaning divers are below. Operators must stay at least 100 feet away. Divers cannot hear you coming. When you see that flag, slow down and stay well clear. A life depends on it. Next question. What is the rule when two motorized vessels meet head-on? Both turn to starboard to pass port to port. Head-on means both turn right. It mirrors road rules and keeps both vessels safely separated. Let's keep going. What is the give-way vessel in a crossing situation? The vessel that has the other on its starboard, right, side. If the other boat is on your right, you give way. The boat on your right has the right-of-way. Next point. What is the stand-on vessel required to do? Maintain course and speed while the give-way vessel maneuvers. Predictability protects everyone. The stand-on vessel holds its line so the give-way vessel knows where it will be. Let's continue. What does 5 short horn blasts mean on Ohio waters? Danger, or, I do not understand your intentions. 5 short blasts is a serious signal. If you hear it, something is wrong. React immediately. Next question. What does 1 prolonged blast mean when leaving a dock or blind bend? A warning of the vessel's presence to nearby traffic. 1 long blast says, I'm here and I'm moving. Sound it every time before you emerge from a blind area. Let's move on. What must a vessel operator do after an accident with injury, death, or disappearance in Ohio? Stop, render aid, exchange information, and report to ODNR as soon as possible. Leaving the scene of a boating accident is a criminal offense. Stop, help, report, in that order. Continuing. What accidents require written reporting to ODNR in Ohio? Death, disappearance, injury needing treatment beyond first aid, or property damage over $1,500. When in doubt, file the report. The paperwork is far less costly than the legal consequences of not filing. Next point. What is the operator responsibility rule in Ohio? The operator is legally responsible for safe vessel operation and the safety of all aboard. When you're at the helm, everything that happens on that vessel is your responsibility. Own it completely. Let's keep going. What speed restriction applies within 100 feet of an Ohio shoreline? No wake speed, unless otherwise posted. The 100-foot shoreline rule protects swimmers, wildlife, and property from wave damage. Next question. What is the carbon monoxide danger on vessels in Ohio? CO from engines and generators can accumulate in enclosed spaces and at the swim platform, causing death. Carbon monoxide is odorless and invisible. By the time someone feels sick, the situation can already be life-threatening. Let's continue. What should be done before starting a gasoline engine after fueling? Run the blower for at least 4 minutes and check for fuel vapors before starting. 1 spark in a fuel vapor-filled bilge can be catastrophic. 4 minutes of blower time is cheap insurance. Next point. What is the correct response when a passenger falls overboard? Throw a flotation device, keep them in sight, and maneuver carefully back to them. Never lose sight of the person in the water. Designate 1 person to watch them while you maneuver back. Let's move on. What causes most fatal boating accidents in Ohio? Drowning, most often because the victim was not wearing a life jacket. This is the most important statistic in boating safety. Wear your life jacket. It is the single most effective thing you can do. Continuing, what weather condition should cause an Ohio boater to return to shore? Darkening skies, rising winds, lightning, or sudden temperature drops indicating an approaching storm. Ohio weather can change fast, especially on Lake Erie. When conditions start to shift, head in immediately. Next point, what is the Ohio law on water skiing and towing? The towing vessel must have an observer in addition to the operator, or use an approved wide-angle mirror. The operator's eyes stay on the water ahead. The observer watches the person being towed at all times. Let's keep going. What hours are water skiing and towing prohibited in Ohio? From sunset to sunrise. Towing activities in the dark are too dangerous for everyone involved, the skier, the boat, and other vessels. Next question. What is a personal watercraft, PWC, under Ohio law? A vessel under 16 feet using an inboard motor and jet pump, including jet skis and wave runners. PWCs are classified as vessels and subject to the same rules as any other motorized boat on Ohio waters. Let's continue. What is the minimum age to operate a PWC in Ohio? 16 years old. Below 16, no one operates a PWC alone on Ohio waters, regardless of supervision.